Just before the COVID pandemic, Netflix put on an animated movie that kind of came out of nowhere, a film called Klaus. And nobody really knew exactly what this was, except the fact that it's got Jason Schwartzman and J.K. Simmons in it, and also a cast that also includes Rashida Jones. But other than that, nobody really knew all about this movie, except the fact that one of the directors on this was Sergio Pablos, who had previously worked on some other movies, including stuff mostly for Sony Pictures Animation, and this was his first film coming out of his company of his own, Sergio Pablo Animation Studios. In the film, Jesper, played by Jason Schwartzman, distinguishes himself as the Postal Academy's worst student. He is stationed on a frozen island above the Arctic Circle where the feuding locals hardly exchange words, let alone letters. Jesper is about to give up when he finds an ally in local teacher Alvi, played by Rashida Jones, and discovers Klaus, played by J.K. Simmons, a mysterious carpenter who lives alone in a cabin full of handmade toys. These unlikely friendships return laughter to Smearsburg, forging a new legacy of generous neighbors, magical lore, and stockings hung by the chimney with care. And I gotta say, man, this is the decade that this was coming out in the 2010s was a really lackluster Christmas stretch for Christmas movies. I mean, you had some good ones every once in a while, stuff we're gonna get to later on here, such as The Night Before, Arthur Christmas, and The Best Man Holiday, among others that get kind of snubbed over by the general public. But for the most part, the decade itself overall was not great for Christmas movies in the 2010s, so when Klaus came along, and you see that first trailer, my interest got piqued almost immediately just because of how good the animation was. Had a great voice cast, a nice enjoyable story, and I was really pumped to see this, and it was well worth it because not only was Klaus a great movie, it's a great holiday classic in the making. There is just so much to admire about this movie, starting with the beautiful animation that does a great job of blending 2D and 3D animation while also using mostly hand-drawn animation for the most part, and it looks flawless. It looks very well done. This really does look like Disney caliber animation, which makes sense considering that Sergio Pablos also worked at Disney and Fox as well as worked on the Despicable Me franchise, and if that wasn't enough, one of the great underrated animators of all time, James Baxter, worked on this movie, and again, if you know his animation style, you see it in this movie. Like, you can tell it's him when you see just the different ways that the characters move around. I mean, just top-notch stuff here. And again, a strong voice cast. J.K. Simmons, always going to give a terrific performance, and he's great as Klaus. Jason Schwartzman's really good playing Jesper. I like the connection between the two of them. Rashida Jones is really good here. Joan Cusack, Will Sasso, the late Norm Macdonald is great in here. The story really is well done, creating essentially a new twist on Santa Claus is Coming to Town. The premise is very similar to that, but it does a lot new to make it stand out on its own, creating some really good heartfelt and emotional moments to fully get the enjoyment factor in here. There really are no flaws to Klaus whatsoever, as far as I can tell. Everything you can ask for is in here. A great story, great voice acting, spectacular animation, a unique new spin on a classic tale. Klaus may become yet another movie that gets snubbed by most people, but it's one of the best Christmas movies to come out as of late, and it should definitely be considered a Christmas classic for decades to come. No question about it.
Destroy those toys!
No, 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 no! No! Ah! Ha! Eat our snow, you... They're not attached. Why aren't they attached? I thought they were attached.
I would never, in a million years, have done what I just did if I didn't think these were attached.